From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. A club shooting in the New York City borough of Brooklyn early Sunday left 3 people dead and 9 others wounded in a year of record low gun violence in the city. Investigators believe up to 4 shooters opened fire at Taste of the City Lounge in Crown Heights after a dispute just before 3:30 a.m. The violence appeared to be gang-related, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch told reporters. There were no immediate arrests. At a news briefing, Tisch called the killings a tragic, senseless act of violence. The crime is the second mass shooting within weeks in New York City during a year that has otherwise seen declining gun violence. On July 29th, a man stalked through a Manhattan office tower with a rifle, wounding 1 person, killing 4 others. A New York City police officer was among those who died. Mayor Eric Adams said both shootings reinforce why we do this work of getting guns off our streets. This is the second within weeks, and we don't want this to turn into a normal course of business of violence in our city, he said. Those wounded Sunday were being treated at hospitals for non-life-threatening injuries, Tisch said. The ages of the victims range from 19 to 61. A 19-year-old man died at the scene, and 2 other men, ages 35 and 27, died after being transported to a hospital. In other news, a day after conservative activist Laura Loomer posted videos on social media of children from Gaza arriving in the United States for medical treatment and questioning how they got visas, the State Department said it was halting all visitor visas for people from Gaza pending a review. The State Department said Saturday that visas would be stopped while it looks into how a small number of temporary medical humanitarian visas were issued in recent days. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Sunday told Face the Nation on CBS that the action came after outreach from multiple congressional offices asking questions about it. Rubio said there were just a small number of the visas issued to children in need of medical aid, but that they were accompanied by adults. The congressional offices reached out with evidence that some of the organizations bragging about and involved in acquiring these visas have strong links to terrorist groups like Hamas, he asserted, without providing evidence or naming these organizations. As a result, he said, we are going to pause this program and reevaluate how those visas are being vetted and what relationship, if any, has there been by these organizations to the process of acquiring those visas. So they won't even let children in who are suffering from medical issues just because they're from Gaza. Got it. European leaders are set to join Ukrainian President Zelenskyy at a meeting with President Trump in Washington, D.C. European and NATO leaders announced Sunday they will join President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Washington to present a united front in talks with President Donald Trump on ending Russia's war in Ukraine and firming up U.S. security guarantees now on the negotiating table. Leaders from Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and Finland are rallying around the Ukrainian president after his exclusion from Trump's summit on Friday with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Their pledge to be at Zelenskyy's side at the White House on Monday is an apparent effort to ensure the meeting goes better than the last one in February when Trump berated Zelenskyy in a heated Oval Office encounter. The Europeans are very afraid of the Oval Office scene being repeated, and so they want to support Mr. Zelenskyy to the hilt, said retired French General Dominique Trinquant, a former head of France's military mission at the United Nations. It's a power struggle and a position of strength that might work with Trump, he said. Putin agreed at his summit in Alaska with Trump that the U.S. and its European allies could offer Ukraine a security guarantee resembling NATO's collective defense mandate as part of an eventual deal to end the 3.5-year war. Special envoy from the United States, Steve Witkoff, said in an interview Sunday on CNN's State of the Union. And finally, a library book has been returned nearly 82 years after it was borrowed from the San Antonio Public Library. It came with a letter noting that, quote, Grandma won't be able to pay for it anymore, end quote. The book is Your Child, His Family, and Friends by marriage and family counselor Francis Bruce Strain. It was checked out in July 1943 and returned this past June from a person in Oregon, the library said in a news release. After the recent death of my father, I inherited a few boxes of books he left behind, the person wrote in a letter that was shared by the library on Instagram and signed with the initials PAAG. The book was a guide for parents on helping their children navigate personal relationships. It was checked out when the person's father was 11 years old. That's the news at this hour. If you are watching our news videos on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.